So Adams Company, what page? 171. Page 171. And we'll see. Hopefully this goes good. I've taught this, but I actually don't have the answers to any of the problems that we're going to be doing right now. So just kind of teaching without a net, as it were. You know what I mean? Anyway, you all don't seem very impressed. Skyla, what kind of a problem? So we got Adams Company. What kind of a problem is Adams Company? It's written in all capital letters up there, right close to the top. Scarce resource problem. Do you have any idea what that means? They've got scarce resources. In this case, they've got a limited amount of titanium, and they've got to decide what to do with it. And so I'll just tell you, get ready to take notes. For any scarce resource problem, you want to maximize contribution margin per unit of scarce resource. Again, for any scarce resource problem, you want to maximize contribution margin per unit of scarce resource. So you're going to write that down. You want to maximize contribution margin per unit of scarce resource. Two things. Right here, this is, first of all, how do we calculate contribution margin? Gatlin. You're not sure. Why aren't you sure? What page? Somebody find it. Tell Gatlin what page in his handy handbook to look at. How do we calculate contribution margin? Revenue minus variable cost. Revenue minus variable cost. How would we do it on a per unit basis? What are the words for the per unit basis version of that? Kinsey, do you know?
I do not know.
You are very close to it, though, I think. It would be selling per, no, not this one, but it's actually the per unit version of it is, it's like right, is revenue, it's selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. It's really close to, I think it'd be really close to here. But anyway, this is, it's, yeah. So again, so Blake, how do we calculate contribution margin per unit on a per unit basis? You got?
Selling price per unit minus variable cost.
Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit, or in total revenue minus variable costs. Okay, so that's the contribution margin piece of this. So contribution margin is revenue minus variable costs, or selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. But here we're calculating variable cost per unit kind of scarce resource, right? Per unit of scarce resource. So that's and so this is math. Remember that. This is what arithmetic symbol, Danny, is per. Nope. Division. So it's contribution margin divided by unit of scarce resource. Okay? So that is describing the math, right? It's contribution margin per unit of scarce resource. So there's two things you need to know to have this phrase make sense, right? You need to know how to calculate contribution margin, and you need to know that per means division, and it's describing the math that you need to do, okay? So Adams Company, let's read this problem in. Adams Company specializes in manufacturing titanium into bicycles, frames, and golf clubs. There are only two product lines. A recent strike in Russia has stopped all production of this rare metal, but Adams foresaw this event occurring and has stockpiled 80,000 pounds of titanium in inventory. No more titanium can be purchased for the foreseeable future, and the managers at Adams Company must decide whether to use their titanium inventory to produce bicycle frames or to produce golf clubs. Okay? And here we've got information, right? Bicycle frames, $40 per unit contribution margin. Each frame requires 8 pounds of titanium to produce. Set of golf clubs, $32 per unit contribution margin. Each set of clubs requires 4 pounds of titanium to produce. And now I recognize these numbers are probably not very realistic, are they? But we'll just use them for math purposes. Fortunately for Adams Company, everything they make can be sold regardless of which product they produce. So the required asks, how many of each product should Adams Company make to maximize income? However, that preceding sentence, because that preceding sentence says, fortunately for Adams Company, everything they make can be sold. Because of that sentence, the required isn't really how many of each product. The required is really which product should they make? Okay? Which product should they make? And the choices, of course, are kind of bicycles or golf clubs. Okay? Bicycles or golf clubs, or bicycle frames, technically, right? Bicycle frames. Corey, what do you think? You don't know. What would you like to know? We do have to work something out to do this. What do you think we need to work out or work on? Let's just talk about bicycle frames for the moment. What do you think we can do? So she's right, Corey's right. We're going to do two pieces. We're going to do two calculations. We're going to do this calculation twice. We're going to do this calculation, contribution margin per unit of scarce resource. We're going to do that twice. And then we're going to choose whichever one's the biggest. Yes, sir?
Would it be as simple as dividing 80,000 pounds, like divided by the requirement, and then times it by per unit?
Actually, we don't even need to do that much work. It would be that simple. In fact, it can be done simpler, more simply. Because we don't need to actually divide by 80,000. We don't need to use the 80,000 pounds at all. All we have to use is the information in those two lines. And so what would you be tempted then to do, Carson? Well is a deep subject.
I'd say you probably would divide like 40 by 32 and see what that percent is of like the difference.
No. That's actually not what we would do. Because this is what we want to do. What is the contribution margin per unit, Carson, for bicycle frames? $40.
Yeah.
And then how do we calculate the contribution margin per unit of scarce resource? What is the scarce resource, Carson? Titanium. And how much titanium do the bicycle frames use?
8 pounds.
Yes. So can we take $40 divided by 8 pounds, and that equals what? 5. And what is that? 5. So that is right. That is 5. Lane, what is that 5, do you think?
Is that the scarce resource, or would that like correlate to like the golf clubs, or like to the other equation that we have to do?
Yes, you're jumping ahead a couple of steps though. I would just like a description of this number.
Is that how much the contribution margin is for each pound?
That is exactly what it is. Okay, contribution margin per pound. That is a $5 although I don't want you to feel like that's a division, because it's not. It's $5 contribution margin per pound of titanium. That's exactly what that is. So let's first know what we've got, right? What number did we calculate? And we calculated contribution margin per unit of scarce resource, which in this case was pounds of titanium, right? Was pounds of titanium. Now let's do that exact same thing for golf clubs. Hermes. Do I need to talk louder?
Sorry, I was thinking about something.
That wasn't accounting? Oh man, how could you, man? How could you? Good, good. So do it for golf clubs.
So it's 8. I do have to divide 32 divided by 4.
And $32 divided by 4
That would be
pounds.
Yeah, pounds. That would be 8. So you
That'd be 8. And please describe that 8. What is that 8? Describe it.
the same that is what you said. Contribution margin per pounds of the scarce resource.
Yes.
So you would pick gold plus because it's greater than.
And that is exactly correct. So we say yes to golf clubs, no to bicycle frames,
So actually that's $5 or half a dollar?
$5.
What?
5.00?
I think it's half a dollar.
40 divided by 8?
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Just, I mean, I have been known to make mistakes before, and I'm teaching without a net. But I have, in fact, I mean, I've taught this problem many, many times before. I just don't happen to have the solution sitting in front of me. So, I mean, so I'm not going fast enough. Is that what the doodling means?
I have everything.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. How are you feeling about this? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So which one did we pick? Golf clubs. Why? Say, why did we pick golf clubs? The contribution margin per pound is higher. Exactly correct. Exactly correct. Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts? Piece of cake, walk in the park, easy as falling off a log. All right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Question? No? Okay. Let's turn the page then, or look at the next page. I'm not sure which one. Actually, no, not that one, not that one. We're going to Morley Manufacturing, everybody. Morley Manufacturing. Okay. Is anybody here from St. Louis? By the chance, anybody here? Are you? So Dr. Morley teaches accounting at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Yeah. Yeah, and so well, he or she might know Dr. Morley. Are they an accounting major? In fact, I think he might be department chair. But anyway, at one point in time, I don't know if he remembers, but at one point in time, I told him I was using his name in vain in a problem. So what kind of a problem is this? Olivia? So in all capital letters right there towards the top, right there toward the top. Special order. So what's going on here? Why? Something special. Right? Somebody wants, a customer wants something special to happen for them. And it is our task to decide whether or not that's something we're interested in doing. Okay? So let's read. This is special order. Morley Manufacturing makes computer monitors which sell for $150 each. Steve, the CEO of Morley Manufacturing, has received a special order. Oh, there we go. Special order to produce monitors with a special logo. The special logo would increase the production cost of each monitor by $5 over and above the normal cost to manufacture these computer monitors as detailed below. Morley Manufacturing has excess capacity, can fill this order without disturbing production for the other customers, which is actually an important piece of information. It means there's no opportunity cost, right? Where they're not giving up space. They don't have to stop production of one product in order to produce another product, which really simplifies the problem. Cost to manufacture. Do you think these numbers are in total or per unit, Nate? What's that sound mean? It is per unit. So these are all per unit numbers. And I am sorry, on my page, they're all in a column. So let's kind of make sure you all see that direct materials is $45. Direct labor is $30. Variable manufacturing overhead is $30. And fixed manufacturing overhead is $22. I need to go through and kind of look at that. I don't know why it's all that mucked up on your page, because it was literally just copy and pasted from another document that was prettier. So I've got to go and fix that. So does everybody see that? Those are the four numbers. Those are the labels, okay? So Sailor, well, actually, Sailor, get excited, but I'm gonna kind of, I want to read the required first, and then what is the minimum selling price Steve should accept for this order? And before I ask Sailor what the answer is, I want to tell you all that the minimum price that Steve should accept for this order would yield a profit of zero, a relevant profit of zero, meaning relevant revenue equals relevant expense. So Steve would be no worse off saying yes or no. So he'd be indifferent, yes or no. Obviously, Steve would rather make money on this, right? He wants profit, relevant profit, to be greater than zero, but the absolute minimum price that Steve might accept would be a price that yields a profit of zero. So the question then is, the decision really is, as you look through those costs, which ones are relevant? And then we simply add up the relevant costs to arrive at our answer. So Sailor, is direct materials relevant?
Yes.
Yes. So if we do not make those monitors, do we have to spend that money on materials for monitors? No. And so therefore it is avoidable. How about direct labor? Is direct labor avoidable?
No. You gotta have direct labor.
Yeah, but if they don't make the monitors, are those direct laborers going to be working?
Oh, well then no.
No. So is direct labor relevant? Yes, because we can avoid doing it. We can avoid having our people work on those monitors. Okay, so direct materials is relevant. Direct labor is relevant. How about variable overhead, Sailor? What is variable overhead? Let's make sure, we should remember that. What is variable overhead? What would be an example of variable overhead?
Would it be the salary of like an executive?
It would never be a salary, because salaries are never variable. Salaries are always fixed, okay? Okay? Wage of who? That's direct labor. I mean, that's important, it's relevant, but it's not an example of variable overhead. Okay?
Like office supplies?
Probably not. Are office supplies a product cost?
The electricity bill.
Electricity bill for what? Where's Mr. Electricity Bill?
The building that
For-
like you're making, or like the machines that you're
Even better example, electricity for the machines being used to make the monitors.
So is it like over all the bills for the cost of like operating the building?
I mean, potentially, but the better the better example is those machines that would be making the monitors. Because recognize, is manufacturing overhead a product cost? We've talked about that. I know this was on your last exam. We learned it before your last exam, but you can't forget about it. Can't forget this stuff. Is manufacturing overhead a product cost, Stella? The answer to this question, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about variable or fixed, because I'm asking simply, is it a product cost? Is it associated with making a product? Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it is. Because remember, what are the three categories of product cost? Name one, Carson. And which is what? Yeah, what category? How many categories? Direct materials. Name another one, Emma. Direct labor. Name the last one, August. Manufacturing overhead. So those are all product costs. What is a product cost? See who's here. Veronica, what is a product cost? No, exactly. What is a product cost? Everything that goes into making a product. And so everything we're talking about here in this problem is a product cost. Okay? It's a product cost. So direct materials, product cost. Direct labor, product cost. Variable overhead, product cost. And your example was perfect. It is the machines used to make the chair, or electricity to run the machines that are used to make the chair, or electricity used to run the machines that make the monitors. Because if we're making no monitors, how much electricity are we using? Nothing, right? Okay. And then fixed manufacturing overhead. Maxton, is that relevant? What are you looking at, sir? Your niece. Lease. You're always solving problems in my class. I understand. But I want you going on. I want you doing good in here. And so fixed manufacturing overhead, is that relevant? What is a fixed cost? Joseph? What? A cost that doesn't change is a good, my definition would be remains the same regardless of the number of units produced, but it doesn't change. If it doesn't change, is it relevant? No. So if we make them, it doesn't change. Or it stays the same as if we don't make them. So is that relevant? Is it a cost that is avoidable? It's fixed. It is irrelevant. Okay, does that make sense? So your answer was incorrect. So that $22 is incorrect. So let's write some numbers down. What was the direct materials cost here? Right?
The direct materials cost?
Yes.
Was 45.
45. If you'd give me the other direct labor, what was 45? What was direct labor?
Labor was 30.
30. And how about variable overhead?
30. And then fixed was 22.
But is the fixed cost relevant? So we're after. So these are only relevant costs right here. Okay. Blaine, what am I missing? Am I missing anything? The $5 extra, is that avoidable? Relevant? Yeah, it is actually relevant because if we don't make those monitors, will we spend if Mr. Morley does not make those monitors, will he spend any money making those logos? No. So if no monitors, no money, that is avoidable, right? That is avoidable. He can choose whether or not to do that. And so $5 more. And that adds up to $110. So that is, if Mr. Morley chooses to make those monitors, he will spend $110 per monitor, $45 for the materials, $30 for the direct labor, $30 for variable overhead, electricity, and other things associated with making a monitor, and $5 on the logo for a grand total of $110. If I did my math right. Did I do my math right? Okay, so that is the answer. Yes, sir. Yes, it is. It is per monitor. Okay? So that is the answer. Obviously, Mr. Morley would like to receive revenue of more than $110, right? He would, because then he's making money. However, he's actually no worse off. Like, if he says no, and if he says yes at $110, he's no worse off. And in some sense, might be just a touch better off. He's kept his workers busy for this period of time and other things. So you, if you are a decision maker, you might choose to do this just so you pay your you can pay your employees, keep them busy, keep them happy, keep them working for you instead of going to somebody else. And maybe you want to do this because you want to do business with this company. You want to give them a good deal because you want them coming back. And hope maybe your additional business with them will be profitable. Okay? So there's a couple of reasons why you might choose to do this. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts. How's this feeling? Yes, ma'am.
So, all you're doing is adding them up?
In this case, yes. In this case, all we're doing is adding up, but what are we adding up here? That's kind of more critical to understand.
The cost to make a monitor.
And I would like to hear you say in it one extra word. What kind of cost to make a monitor? The relevant cost to make a monitor, okay? So there we are. Because now you're getting closer because the thing is I don't just want you memorizing how to, if I see another problem that looks exactly like this, what do I got to do? I want you to be able to kind of think through what do I need to be doing? Because it's certainly possible I'll give you something that looks a little bit different. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts? Let's look at Tillamook Cheese Company then, everybody.
Sorry.
What? What?
Actually, I don't see how you come to the conclusion
What conclusion?
that you are going to take that offer of doing the computers with the logo.
It's not in this case, it's not going to accept the offer. It is a decision about what is the lowest possible price we would accept.
Okay.
So it's not a yes or no in this case. For this problem, it is what is the lowest possible price we might accept for that? And the lowest possible price is 110.
I get it.
Okay? So,
It would be a little more expensive than doing it without the logo. Right?
yes, it would. Yes, it would. And that's what makes this a special order, right? Is that logo is special or custom. Okay? It's a great question. Any other questions? That is so loud. What do you think's going on? Me neither. I don't know. It's a haunted building. You know what I mean? Maybe it's haunted. There's a ghost up there going tap, 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 tap with a little hammer. Or more likely, it's like water in a pipe, like air in a pipe or something. So now, one last problem for today, actually, but this will be the biggest problem for today. And that is Tillamook Cheese Company, okay? You can buy Tillamook cheese right here in Bowling Green. Did you know that? No? Yeah? No? Well, you can. Well, you need to go do a little more shopping.
Is it good?
Yeah. Tillamook Cheese Company. Now, please recognize while it is the real name of a real company, all the information in this problem is fictional. Has anybody been to Tillamook, Oregon? Anybody in the room? It's not a silly question, actually. The Tillamook Cheese Company is, in fact, a real place, and it just so happens to be the second most visited, second most visited place in the entire state of Oregon. And actually, the better way to say that is it's the second most visited tourist attraction in the entire state of Oregon.
Is it in your hometown?
No. I have been there, though. I've been there more than once. But for the Tillamook Cheese Company, the issue is location, location, location. It's a cheese factory. They make cheese, turn milk into cheese, but it just so happens to be located on the Oregon Coast Highway. So it is one of the main routes up and down the Oregon coast in Oregon. So it's a wildly busy road. It's a little two-lane road. Tourists go up and down that. And so they just started giving tours, and then you can buy cheese for cheap, and then they've added ice cream shop, and they've added a gift shop and a small restaurant and actually I don't know how big of a conference center. They've got meeting rooms and conference rooms there. And at this point in history, they have tour bus parking at this cheese factory. It is so big. And so they might make, I'm sure they make a fair bit of money on the tourist attraction part of it. But in fact, you can buy, Myers has it for sure, because I was just there yesterday. They have Tillamook cheese for sale in the cheese section, and I think Kroger does as well. So both Meijer and Kroger have Tillamook cheese. So it's a real place, make real cheese. Pretty good stuff if you're into cheese. So what kind of a problem is this? Ian. Sell now, or do you know what that means? Not really. Has anybody so I'm going to explain what sell now or give you a different example of sell now or process further. So my question for everybody in the class is, has anyone in the class ever purchased ground beef or hamburger? Please raise your hand if you've ever purchased ground beef or hamburger, okay? So when you buy ground beef, do you buy it in a big clump or do you buy it in patties? How many patty people? Well, I buy it in patties all the time, so I'm glad my hand is raised. And nobody here, why don't you buy it in patties? Why might you prefer to buy it in a clump? Ian? You can make bigger burgers? Is that the only reason? Peyton? Why do you buy ground beef in a big clump? You don't know. It's just what you always buy. Is there a benefit, Grace, to buying ground beef in a clump?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? You didn't raise your hand. So have you ever purchased ground beef? You do know what we're talking about. You just like brown paper.
No, but that's what my parents get.
That's what your parents get. Yes, sir.
I think it's cheaper in a clump, and then you can, like, with serving sizes too, it's a lot better to do it.
What were you going to say?
I make hamburgers and tacos. I don't want a patty when I'm trying to make tacos.
What were you?
You can just make a lot of different things.
You can make a lot of different things with ground beef. That is true. But the primary, yes, that is a benefit, right? But maybe the single biggest benefit is it's cheaper, right? It is, in fact, cheaper. Why do I buy patties? Because it's more convenient. I'd like to just grill the patties, and I'd rather not go through the work of making them. And you can make them more even. They just look prettier when they do it. And so, but that is an instance. This is an example, however, of a grocery store selling now or processing further, right? Selling now is just selling clumps of ground beef. The patties very often are made by the store, by the meat section of the store, right? And so they take some of their ground beef, put it in patties with wax paper between them, and sell it for more money. Why would they do that? Connor? How would they make more money? What would be the what two numbers are we looking at to determine if they're making more money?
Off a year, I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, just in general, using the example of the ground beef and patties.
You've lost me. You've explained a lot, and I feel like you're asking a really simple question.
I am asking a really simple question.
Not following it.
You're not following me. Ellen, can you help out Connor? What was it? Because I'm not talking loud enough. Yes. So I can talk louder. But how do we know? Why would a grocery store turn ground beef into patties?
For specific, like, if somebody wants hamburgers instead of they're making like something else, I don't know.
Why do you think?
Maybe like, I don't know how to say it, but like a deal, like, I don't know.
I think it's kind of simple. What would you?
Because they can upcharge it?
Well, they do upcharge it, right? They do upcharge it. How can we tell if they're making a smart decision to upcharge it? Or how can we tell if they're making a smart decision about how much they upcharge it? So they can do they have to sell hamburger in patties? No. How can we tell if they've made a smart decision?
People are buying it.
And then I want a little more, that people are buying it.
With like how much they're making, people are buying it.
Yes, and but can they lose money doing that?
Technically, yeah.
So what two numbers do we compare to see if they're making money?
How many people are buying it in bulk or like in the clump, and how many people are buying it in patties?
That's not what I'm fishing for. Yes. The cost, so how much does it cost to turn ground beef into patties? How much does that cost? And then how much more are we selling the patties for than the ground beef? Right? So what's the relevant cost of that whole transaction? It is how much additional cost are we going to incur to turn that ground beef, which we've already got and which we can already sell, how much additional cost to turn that into patties? And then we compare that to how much more we can charge for that same weight of ground beef, except in patty form. And then we know if we're doing a good job or not. Because we can sell more of it, but if we're not covering our additional costs, then are we doing ourselves any favor? Not necessarily, right? Okay. So anyways, we're going to see that in number form here right now, because here. Actually, I'm going to draw it bigger so y'all can see it. So we've got, what do we got here? We got cheese. We've got ice cream. We've got butter. Okay? We are told there's about a milk truck. Right? There's a milk truck. That costs $150,000 a year because this milk truck goes out to dairy farms, grabs milk, and brings it to Tillamook. Okay? My aunt and uncle have the last remaining Guernsey dairy in the state of Oregon. And so for a while, their milk actually went to Tillamook. So this truck every other day comes to my aunt and uncle's dairy to take their milk and take it off to a milk processing facility. And on the other day, then it goes to other dairies and picks up milk and then takes it to the milk processing facility. So that truck is running 300, because cows give milk 365 days a year, that truck is running 365 days a year to transport milk from dairy farms to these processing facilities. And so we are told they've currently have $400,000 of milk. Can Tillamook sell milk? Or I should say, is milk a saleable product? Yeah, right? So it's just like ground beef. Milk is just like ground beef. It can be sold as a product, can't it? And they've got $1 million worth of milk. Got $1 million worth of milk. So that's what this is. This is milk. And we're told, so that is the first row. Sales value at split off, i.e. raw milk. They can sell the milk. They got $1 million worth of stuff they can sell. Sales value of processed further. So if that milk becomes cheese, they can sell it for $450,000. They can sell the ice cream for $679,000. And they can sell the butter for $110,000. Okay? How's my camera doing here? Has it got everything? Pretty good. It's even got the milk truck. How many people got a milk truck drawn in their notes? Not a lot of people. Thank you. Thumbs. No milk truck. Sorry. It just says milk. I mean, you could draw this. You're like, yeah, I'm going to help you. Yeah. Except where are your dollar signs? Not a one. I don't see a one. He actually wrote milk truck. I mean, I drew this cool milk truck. Yours is better looking than mine, though, I think. There we go, milk truck. You got this. That just really kind of brings it together. Oh, that's an even better milk truck than what I drew on the board. Thank you. And she's committed to like ink. She kind of.
Yeah, I was feeling like a colorful day.
Yeah. Yes. Milk truck. That's kind of entertaining. Milk truck. Thank you. Very good. Very good. You got nothing, man. Not really. You got the decisions made? So help us. So the first one we've got, so the thing is we've now got, Tillamook Cheese Company has 3 decisions to make now. Yes or no on cheese, yes or no on ice cream, yes or no on butter. Party, butter.
Where did you get the million from?
I just added up 400,000, 500,000, and 100,000. Those 3 things add up to $1 million. So tell me, cheese. You like cheese?
I do.
Have you ever had Tillamook cheese?
I have not.
You're gonna have to go check it out. Like cheese, yeah, I know Myers has it for sure, and I think Kroger does as well. So it's a real company. You can buy real cheese. So should they make cheese? Yes or no? Yes. I appreciated how quickly and confidently you said that answer. And so why? What 2 numbers did you compare to determine if they should make cheese?
If 450,000 minus 17,000 is more than 400,000.
That is right. Now, these are not negative numbers. They're actually positive numbers. And that's actually kind of important. So I get rid of all the parentheses. So tell me again, please. You did it right. Tell me again. What 2 numbers did you compare?
450,000, 100,000, minus 17,000.
So let's get this on the board first. How much more can we sell cheese for than milk? $50,000, right? There's a $50,000 difference. So here's our anchor point. We can sell all this stuff for $1 million, call it a day, and go home. We don't need to do any more work. So we can sell the milk for $400,000. We can sell the cheese for $450,000. How much more can we sell the cheese for than milk? $50,000 question.
Yeah. Where does it say that like you sell milk? It says the only products they make are butter, cheese, and ice cream.
However, you were recently hired as an accountant, so I'm reading the last sentence of that first big paragraph. You were recently hired as an accountant and were asked to determine if it would be more profitable instead to sell any of the raw milk as milk rather than use it to produce cheese, ice cream, or butter. Okay, I'm sorry I did not actually read the problem to you all. I kind of jumped in. So that is how we know that then. Great question, thank you. And then back at you, what are we comparing that number to?
17,000.
What is $17,000?
That is the cost of further processing.
That is the cost of further processing. So this is a negative number, right? That number is a negative number. We have to spend an additional $17,000 to turn milk into cheese. If we turn milk into cheese, we will earn an additional $50,000 worth of revenue. Does that seem like a good deal? It does seem like a good deal, doesn't it? $50,000 is bigger than $17,000. And so we say yes. Okay? You like that? Awesome. Were you worried that they might stop making cheese?
No,
17.
no, I don't.
You were worried. You were worried they might stop making cheese. Skyla, how about ice cream? Do you like ice cream? Yeah, what's your favorite flavor? Don't know. Do you have a favorite brand? Bluebell. That's like the state ice cream of Texas, I think. Bluebell. And so, I mean, and they have lots of fancy, cool flavors, so I can see why you would find it hard to make a decision. But should Tillamook Cheese Company make ice cream? You guess. That is not confidence inspiring. What two numbers are you comparing when you give me that answer? Because that's actually what we're doing. We need to do math. We need to do the same math we've already done. So what are we going to do?
500,000.
Yes, although you'd say it the other way around. We're going to subtract, you would either say it's $679,000 minus $500,000 or $500,000 from $679,000. But probably the first way I described it would be better. So $679,000 minus $500,000 is in fact $179,000. So ice cream, I mean, these are fictional numbers, but in this problem, ice cream is worth $179,000 more than the milk that was used to make it. And then what number do we compare that to, Gatlin?
500,000.
No. Is that what we did above?
No.
Thank you. That's a correct answer. So now give me the correct number that we compare that number to. It's not on the board, it's on the page in front of you.
103,000.
Yes. $103,000. So again, Tillamook Cheese Company can spend $103,000 to make ice cream, and they can sell the ice cream for $179,000 more than what they can sell the milk for. So what is the answer then? What's this answer then? Kenzie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes to ice cream. Yay! Right? Yes to ice cream. That would be such a sad day if ice cream were to disappear, you know? Such a sad day. Very sad. How are we feeling? Blake, what do you got for me? What? You got nothing? Well, help me then. Let's just do the same thing we've been doing for the last 2 times. That is incorrect. 10,000? That 10,000 is not what it costs us to make butter from milk. That 10,000 is how much more revenue we receive from selling butter than we would receive from selling milk. And then how much does it cost us to make butter, Blake?
14 grand.
14 grand? 14 grand. Thank you. Thank you. $14,000. Danny, is that a yes or no?
No.
That's a no, which is a very sad day. Right? I don't know. That's a really ugly tear. It's a really ugly tear, right? No. Right? Can you do better? You've already been on the board this semester, haven't you? So, yeah, you don't have to do it. What are y'all packing up for? We got like 7, 8 minutes. What?
You said it was the last problem.
It is. Do you have any questions? You good? What are you going to do between now and Thursday? Anybody going to work on their homework? Are you going to send me an email? So get some work on some homework. Start studying for the final, the review stuff. Start studying this stuff. Come to class with questions on Thursday.
We're gonna do a practice exam
On Thursday.
Yeah.
We'll see you then. The end is near.